What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at EPL Season 20 Group C and D. A and B groups went like this. Not too bad, not too great either. Donk was really good. They did lose one of their games. Navi won all their games, and Ime was very good. Probably the best pick out of Navi, when it comes to value at least. And then Alistair could have been an okay pick. If I played my roles and boosters better. I got like no booster points apart from this chicken out, which did pretty well against Eternal Fire. But then I really kind of messed it up with the camper. I think some of you, or at least one of you, commented as well that you used a different role for him. I guess I had slightly higher expectations for FlyQuest and Alistair, but the way he played, like honestly, if you watched those games with FlyQuest and Alistair, he was really bad. I'm not gonna lie, he was extremely bad at really having any impact on those games, and unfortunately that means that he's gonna do a lot of harm to my rank here. But what can you do? Apart from that, I think I did pretty well. Chopper was like the thing is like Chopper is completely carried by his rolls and boosters triggering to some extent. Donk was really the only saving grace for Spirit in this tournament so far, and everyone else is kind of lagging behind. So I think honestly, when it comes to playoffs, once we get there, I'm probably not gonna go Spirit, just because there seems to be a bit of a problem where only Donk is showing up against, at least at the current stage, and even when Donk is showing up, it's not always seeming to be enough. And I think against the tougher opponents in playoffs, they need players like Zontix and Magix and Shiro to step up a little more, and of course Chopper as well. That's enough about groups A and B. For groups C and D, also, by the way, yeah, there's still probably some games to be played here in the last chance stage today. Yeah, Heroic Sangal and some other games, but I don't think they're gonna impact my rank too much. So I'm making this video now. Starting with Group C, obvious favorites here in Mouse, especially with this side of the bracket. I think they should always make it to the upper finals, with Big, Imperial, and Rooster against them. Like, Big have not been impressing, Imperial haven't been very good. Of course, Rooster is like one of the weakest teams in the entire event. There's no world in which Mouse shouldn't at least make it straight to the upper finals. Then Group C, lower side, Complexity M80. I mean, Complexity should be winning this, but I wouldn't be too surprised by an M80 upset. Kind of an NAV NA matchup here. And then Fnatic Astralis. Not really sure about who's gonna win this, to be honest. I haven't been impressed by Astralis lately. I haven't watched Fnatic play in quite a long time. So kind of an exciting matchup to me, but I'm not sure who's gonna come out on top. But there is one player from these four teams that I am gonna be looking at in my team possibly, and we'll get to that when I discuss my lineups. Group C, again, we have an obvious favorite in Vitality. Vitality playing against one of the weakest teams in the event in ATOX. There's some players here that you might recognize from name, for example Annihilation and Cabal, but Vitality have been really, really good lately. If you haven't like looked at how their matches have recently gone, like they won Cologne and beat a lot of the really good teams you would expect them to beat, like wouldn't always expect them to beat, I mean. Of course, also like So and Fury, who you would expect them to beat. Then Blast Premier Fall Groups, they went through cleanly. They lost to VP here at the Esports World Cup, but it's a bit of a whatever event. And then only losing to Spirit here, so it seems like VP is a bit of a bogey team for them. But VP would only play against them in the upper finals if it comes to that. And also VP have been looking pretty poor as well lately. But yeah, I mean, I think Vitality have a slightly more difficult route to the upper final than Mouse. Like Mouse, I would expect always to make it. And then Vitality, it's a matter of like, can they beat Fury Elf and Falcons? I think usually yes. Either one of those teams, like Falcons, now again falling off a cliff. Like I picked them in as a double up in that one event, and then they completely screwed it up for me. And Fury have been looking a bit more decent again lately, but nothing to be too excited about either. Like I do expect Vitality to just 2-0 here and go straight to the upper finals. Then the lower side, Liquid Ends. Liquid Ends should be a matchup Liquid win, at least based on the current form of Ends. Ends recently fired their coach in Kuben, so I'm not sure if they even have a coach right now. That's not good for them. And Liquid have been looking pretty okay, but a part of me sees this Liquid team as like they were in their honeymoon period, and I'm not sure if they can keep it up after that. I think there's some decent pieces there. I think it can become a consistent top 10-ish lineup, but whether or not they're gonna like beat Vitalities and beat even a VP in the next stage, I don't know. But then again, VP have also been looking very poor. They do play against Red Canids, who isn't the worst team when you look at these names and how they've been doing recently. Like there's Henny and Coldzera, some other Brazilians, and I believe are they all Brazilian? No, Davideus is not Brazilian, but apart from that, a part of me sees this as a potential upset where VP lose this. I'm definitely gonna avoid VP either way. I'm probably gonna avoid all the teams here because I'm just not comfortable picking any of them. If I were to pick a team out of these, it would be Liquid. I think there's a couple of players from there who are worth it value-wise. I think their prices are surprisingly low even when it comes to their ranking in the world ranking and then recent ratings. But we'll see. Maybe we go towards that, having one of these Liquid players, but maybe we are able to find a better combination of players. Yeah, so player pricing. I think Vitality is pretty fairly priced. Zayu at 240, kind of like Donk in the last stage. I would probably not go there. It's very hard to find a good lineup with Zaibu, I feel, in this event, because some of the players are just quite expensive. Like when you look at these mouse prices, as I already said, I think they are just going to go 2-0 every time. It's hard to justify a Zaibu pick when you can see very similar ratings for some of the mouse players for a lot cheaper. Vitality, apart from that, Apex is a decent pick for 194, I would expect. Messi has been the kind of player who can actually pop off quite a lot recently. He's got that support role quite on lock. It's definitely possible to go just like Apex and Messi. I think Spinks is also a player I would look at. You could go Flamesy if you feel like it, but if I were to like, I think these two players are pretty similar in their potential level of output. Flamesy currently a bit trending upwards, Spinks maybe a bit down, but the difference isn't very big. And I would rather have the 4k extra and have Spinks than pay the 4k extra and have Flamesy, unless you just don't know what else to use your 4k on, then you might want to go for Flames. Because yeah, you would expect that when the difference is 4k, Spinks is gonna be more picked. What I actually haven't even looked at if this is possible, but okay, so it's not possible because the one player I said I would love to have from those 4 teams is actually Blamaf, like 211k. When you look at his rank, like ratings, he's still putting up insane numbers. Of course, it's in like lower tier events, but like look at this rating sea of green, and it's like there's actual teams here like Cloud9, 3D Max has been pretty good recently. Of course, there's some weird teams like this that aren't as real. I would kind of want to pick Blaymaf because I expect that he can actually put up really good numbers against teams like Astralis, against teams like Complexity M80. And even if they lose this Astralis matchup, then they're gonna play like the loser of Complexity M80, which is more likely to be M80 than potentially some of these like Roosters and Big or Imperial. Like there's a lot of farming potential for Blaymaf, but I feel like if I can't make that lineup with doubling up on Mouse and Vitality, it's probably not worth it. I really thought I actually had money for this. Unfortunate that it's 1k off. I would definitely go for this lineup if it was possible, I think. Now that it's not possible, I need to actually think about what my what are the alternatives. I think Liquid, like 1x Liquid player is probably the way to go then. I wouldn't go to Ultimate, even though he's been pretty exciting lately, but I wouldn't want to go for that expensive of a Liquid player because I'm not that confident in them doing very well. I think any of JKS, Yakindar, Naf, even Twist, I would probably not go Twist just because he's been like IGLing, and I think I'm more comfortable picking like a Naf or Yeki or JKS for their price points. I will take a look at some of the other players we have available. Of course, you could go, because we have this new booster, you could go for like one of these super cheap players because of the chicken booster. Might be good enough to go for one of the really cheap players actually. I feel like the potential with the chicken booster is super high. But the problem is you need to know, or you need to have a plan for the matches where, like, this is an event where there's quite a lot of matches. And when there's a lot of matches, the bad player you have is still gonna be able to have a lot of stinkers, you know? Like, I guess the chicken booster is better in events where there's just a very low amount of games. That, like, maybe a double elimination. Because of this being triple elimination, I'm actually scared of picking a very bad player like I did with Alistair, and this kind of happening again. What happened with Alistair, that he's still gonna get a lot of negative points just because of the fact that he's got a lot of games to play, even if they lose most of their games. So maybe it's not that important to have a really cheap player in this event specifically, and I think it's gonna be better later on. And even if I don't pick a super cheap player, I think I'll still have my use case for the chicken booster. If, for example, Liquid go 2-0, which I would probably expect them to do in this Group C. I find it likely that they would beat VP here. And then we can just have the chicken booster against Vitality here. Or I just don't use the chicken booster, that's of course also fine, if it never comes up to that. But yeah, I think likely I want to go for one of the cheaper Liquid players. I think like Yeki, I think Yeki's stats are a bit inflated based on the fact that they're playing a lot of this NA opposition, and I think JKS is actually going to be very good against the non-NA opposition in comparison to Yakindar. So I'm going to go for JKS at least to start out with, and then we're going to see where it goes. I think Spinks is the like standout pick here. I would love Torji. Not quite possible with this set of players. Go Mezzi, you can probably go for like almost anyone here. Out of these mouse players, yeah. You could go even Jimpat. Kind of a nutty lineup, not gonna lie. So who do Liquid play first round? Liquid plays Ens. I think Ens is gonna be very farmable. Maybe it is then gonna be Yakindar instead. Just have Yakindar destroy ends. Would hope that would happen. Like this is the probably the primary lineup. I would go to Flames probably if I had the extra couple K. What about if you don't want to go for Apex and you want to go for Mizzy instead? Not really even possible. Okay. The difference between Mizzy and Apex is actually pretty big right now. What are Mizzy's stats like recently? He's the kind of player who... Yes, he's been doing pretty damn well lately. These are great ratings for Mizzy, for his roles. What about Apex? Well, he did really good at Cologne as well. Then not that well here. I still... The difference is like almost 10k. I've been burned by Messi quite a lot of times. Is there a nice Torji lineup or... No, with JKS there's none. Because Torji is the kind of player who's also gonna like destroy in group stages, I think, quite consistently. And I really like that for him. Who are like the options at 190k? There's like a Norbert. How bad is Norbert? Norbert might be on the way out of VP as well, if I've heard correctly. There's like JT and Floppy at the same price nowadays. Bro at 189 is not an awful idea, but something tells me that they're gonna lose the Fnatic. Fury I'm not very high on. Yeah, I don't think it's Furia. Man, I don't want to go for complexity. I feel like that's just not good. I really want a liquid player, but I do want these kinds of players. Cool. It just doesn't make sense money-wise, a lot of these picks. Maybe it just has to be Brolan. I'm not mad at having Brolan. He's still an aggressive player. And I think he has pretty high ceiling. I think Yakindar makes sense. You could also go JKS and then upgrade to Flimsy. But I'm not sure how much of an upgrade it is. Flimsy is more volatile when it comes to his stats, but he's been really good. How good is Spinks? What are Spinks' stats like recently? He's also been really good. I'm a bit surprised by. I guess it's past 3 months rating that it's based on. Spinks has recently been even maybe better than Flamesy. What are some other options at this price point? No one that I would want. No. If you go for Torshi, what are like the super cheap players? Is there like a super cheap player I could... And then I could go for the chicken booster. MAD is a fun team to own, but I'm not quite sure if I want them. No, I don't think it's any of these. Like this plus JKS would be like if just 2 players were 1k lower. I would do this in a heartbeat. And 2k, there's just no one in. I think it is just Liquid as the 5th team to me, like, personally. I do love Jimmy. Yeah, but his rating's a bit, I don't know. Like Exertion. $210. Then you could go for Naf. I do love Naf as a pick, by the way, here. I don't think this is it either. 3k floating. I'd rather have no Messi. Messi is I think it's just this lineup to me. A bit boring maybe, but I'm a fan of this lineup. Yeah, I think it's just this. No, wait. JKS, of course. Taking there. This lineup. We get the double up on mouse. I'm pretty happy with a double up on mouse. Spinks Apex. Yeah, I think Vitality and Mouse should just 2-0 these groups. I'd be surprised if they don't. Like, I'm less surprised that the team like Spirit kind of fumbled. I think the 3 most reliable teams to usually clear group stages at the very moment are like Navi, Mouse, and Vitality. I think those 3 teams should almost always just 2-0 and make it straight through. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Probably IGL on Shuhei as well. That's how confident I am in them. But also it just doesn't have other great roles. Roland probably on entry or T side rating. 4138 on the T side. Yeah, it's the T side rating for Roland. I think it's probably on multi, right? 3150. Yeah. Apex probably like this. Oh, wow, that's really bad on him. I was not expecting that. Then it's support. Making sure there's nothing else that really makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's support then. And Yekindar probably an entry. 4149. Headshots actually. Oh, that's fake. I also rather go for this. I think 21%. Oh, actually eco-friendly on Yakindar, pretty damn enticing. Either this is more consistent, like this is definitely his role in the team, but then again this also fits quite well. I'm gonna go for entry fragger. I have a feeling that it's more reliable for them. More reliably gonna be doing that quite a lot. Yeah, I might change it before the event starts, but for now my thought is that entry fragger is a bit more consistent. Boosters. The chicken booster I'm gonna save for like if Yakindar makes it to if Yeki makes it against Vitality here in upper finals, for example. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna use the booster. It's a very powerful booster and you should use it whenever you feel like your players can have like a negative something rating in a matchup, but I'm not sure when that's gonna happen to any of these players. Like Apex Shuhei could definitely be beating any of these, like getting like 1.1 ratings or something against a lot of these teams, and you don't want to wipe out your leader and support points either. I'm going for a more balanced approach basically here than in the last stage or in groups A and B. This is probably gonna be, oh yeah, there's no booster anymore for IGL double points, so KST should be Brolan. What else are some good ones to use in these easier matchups? Best pistol is a pretty nice one to use. We can throw that on Spinks. Matter of what on Shuhei. Okay, do that. Damn, this is such a high percent probability to activate on you. We're gonna use that later, and we're gonna use Kobe here. Entry fragger. Against the Ents. Probably Farmer's fine. I think Ents is not that bad of a team, but I think we're gonna get some farming done here. Okay, that's the lineup. A slightly longer video actually. I had a lot to say about a lot of things. I think if you want to go for something a bit different, and I'm a bit annoyed that I couldn't make a lineup with him, but I think Playmath makes a lot of sense as a potential pick. Outside this kind of generally most picked players roster. Like, I'm going for very template picks here. I'm going for Shuhei, Apex, Spinks, Brolan, and Yekindar. 5 players out of the top 8 most picked players. But I think it just makes sense here. So yeah, if you enjoy this kind of content, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.